Hello and welcome back to Drippy Drez. Today is the day where I'm going to be talking about small moments from each of the Shrek movies, and I'm going to use that to give you the full idea of what I thought on each of the Shrek movies. For those of you who still haven't watched all of the audios to my podcast, I did do an audio where I ranked all of the Shrek movies, and I've mentioned my opinions of 1 through 3 on other audios. And then for those of you who have heard my opinions on 1, 2, and 3, feel free to skip forward. In the description below, I included timestamps for each of the movies. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so at the beginning of Shrek 1, I was 4 when I watched it, so I can't really say how I would react now, because, I don't know. Well, you know what, why not? I'll say how I would react now. So, I was a little bit surprised at the beginning, because I knew it was supposed to be a spoof of fairy tale stories, and yes. No, wait, I was 3 when I watched Shrek. Wow, how do I remember? Yeah, and the reason I learned what a spoof was because of Shrek. So, yeah, I was a little bit surprised by the opening, but I feel like if I were to watch it now, I would know that they're only, trying to make it seem serious at first, just to, surprise us with something funny. Okay, yeah, and then what happened next was pretty funny. To be honest, the whole All-Star scene, I guess, it was funny, but I guess it's just not really, the funniest thing I've seen. Because I don't know, I guess, it's easy to understand why he is the way he is, because he's an ogre, and, nothing about it, really surprises me, it's still funny. So let's see, when he scared the villagers, that was hilarious, because, of how he snuck up behind them, was talking about, what he was gonna do to them, and how he just put out the torch that easy. And then, how he actually had to tell them that was the part where he ran away. Yeah, and then when they showed the fairy tale creatures, the Pinocchio thing was funny. I'm the talkiest thing on the face of the planet, or whatever that old lady said. That was hilarious. That was especially funny when Shrek scared off the knights, and then when Donkey was following Shrek around, he's like, "Can I stay with you?" "No." "Can I stay with you, please?" "Yes." "Really?" "No." Yeah, that whole thing was hilarious. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, that was pretty funny when the fairy tale creatures were all on Shrek's land and he was just like, "What are you doing in my swamp?" And then, yeah, not the gumdrop buttons. That was hilarious. I don't know, I guess it was a little bit boring when, Lord Farquaad was picking out his princess, because, you already know from the front cover that it's gonna be Princess Fiona. And, I don't know, I guess maybe if I didn't see the front cover, I would be wait, maybe I would have thought, wait, which princess? And then I would have been nope, it's gonna be Princess Fiona, because, why would they do something with Snow White and Cinderella? Because, if they picked Snow White, it would have been oh, why not Cinderella? And if they picked Cinderella, it would have been oh, why not Snow White? Let's see. Oh gosh, it's funny, I remember Shrek, but see, it's been so long since I've watched the first Shrek, because it's not really my favorite. Okay, I'm pulling it up. Yep, I'm on Peacock right now. You know what? I should probably turn this down. Actually, wait, never mind. I think I can play commercials without getting copyrighted. Oh, wait. Duh, I should have remembered what happened after they showed Lord Farquaad. That was... I remember clearly now. That was the whole onions have layers scene. It was, ogres are like onions. They stink? No. They make you cry? No. Oh, you leave them in the sun, they start sprinkling brown hairs? No, they have layers. Okay, yeah. That whole thing, it was funny right up until he said you leave them in the sun, they start sprinkling brown hairs. All of that was hilarious. That was the funniest part of the whole movie. Like the whole onions part, like, oh, they have layers, oh, parfaits. That wasn't that funny, to be honest. That was funny when, like, Shrek was, like, scared that one guy in Lord Farquaad's outfit, or whatever that was. Yeah, the Lord Farquaad outfit, when he, like, just went through the ropes. And then, yeah, when Donkey was struggling with the metal bars, that was all funny. Yeah, I guess the puppet thing was pretty funny. And then, yeah, I guess when Shrek fought off all the knights, that was funny, and he's like, come on, let's settle it for a drink, and he used the beer to defeat them. And then the rest of the fight scene was pretty cool. And then, yeah, they had a nice music montage, and then... Yeah, I don't know, like, I guess... Right when, like, Shrek and Donkey got to the bridge, like, that's kind of when, like, the meanness stopped being funny. 'Cause, like, you know, see, I don't mind rude humor. As a matter of fact, I usually enjoy it, being that I think it's funny. I guess I just don't really see the need to use rude humor for, like, an entire plot of a movie. Because, you know, then, like, when it first happens, it's actually funny. But then as it keeps happening, it's not really funny anymore. It's just... You know, like, whatever, like, okay, yeah, we get it, you know, that person's there, he's probably gonna say something mean to that other person. Whereas, like, when it's just, like, once in a while, or, like, you know, like, once every, I don't know, like, maybe if it's only, like, for a couple parts of the movie, like, then it's actually funny. So let's see, yeah. Y'all know what I thought of the physical relationship part. The rest of the scene, like, everything else that took place at the Dragon's Castle was cool, except for, like, when Shrek rescued Fiona. That was just funny when he shook her. And, you know, when she was like, oh, you know, let's, you know, like, oh, you know, let's make this romantic. He's just like, oh, whatever. And how he took that napkin as a token of his appreciation just to wipe off his face. Yeah, and then, like, when they defeated the dragon, that was cool. And then, yeah, that was funny when Shrek revealed to Fiona that he was an ogre, and when Shrek and Donkey were laughing. That was also funny when, like, Shrek took Fiona and, like, she was, like, refusing to go and he just kept carrying her. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't really think it was funny when, like, at first when she wanted to make camp, I just thought it was part of the movie, and that's fine, because I don't think that was really supposed to be funny. That was just supposed to be part of the movie. But that was hilarious when she yelled at them, because the way they're like, we need to make camp now! And then, yeah, finally, you know, Shrek was refusing to answer Donkey's question, and, yeah, and then Shrek was like, they judge me before they even get to know me. That's why I'm better off alone. I know a lot of people look at that as a lesson. I don't really think of that as a lesson. I just think that was funny because, like, so many people wouldn't have judged him if he wasn't constantly trying to scare them, whereas because he was scaring them, they actually judged him. And then we saw that Fiona was an ogre. Yeah, and then we saw the bearskin rug in Lord Farquaad's room. Yeah. I know I've seen YouTube shorts that say that was an animation mistake because we saw the three bears at Shrek and Fiona's wedding. I don't think that was an animation mistake. I just think it goes to show that either the bears had a relative or that he just had a bearskin rug. I don't think that was an animation mistake. Yeah, I don't really like the scene where Fiona kills the bird, I guess. Like, I mean, like, it doesn't bother me as much as like the things I've complained about, but like, I don't know, I guess like it's one of those things where like I don't necessarily like it, but at the same time, like, it didn't really affect my opinion of the movie because, I mean, she was alone in the tower for so long, like, she had to find a way to eat somehow, and, like, yeah, it was sad, but, like, she found a way to eat. Like, I do agree, like, they definitely didn't need to have that part, but, like, I don't know, I guess it's just not something I would really, like, complain about. So anyways, yeah, she made him breakfast. That was cool. I mean, it shows what a good person Fiona is because she accepted the fact that just because things weren't really going her way, even though that wasn't really her way. I mean, that was the way she was raised. That was the way she was told to live her life. She was willing to accept Shrek and Donkey for who they were, and she was willing to give them a chance because she knew just because they weren't her idea of people doesn't mean they weren't good people, or I guess I should be saying beings. So yeah, and then like Shrek and Fiona's music montage, yeah, that was funny when Donkey got thrown off. Or no, what am I doing? Now I know why I forgot about the scene with the hunters. It's because that's the scene that had the animation mistake. And my brain didn't want to remember that. It just wanted to skip over that so I could complain about the other thing that bothered me. It's funny how our brains work. Anyways, yeah, I guess the hunter scene was pretty funny with Robin Hood and the guys, and then when she fought off the hunters, and then of course they had to ruin that scene with the animation mistake. I don't know if you guys can hear that noise in the background. My cat is in here, or one of my cats I should say, and he decided to fall asleep and now he's breathing heavily. No, he is just breathing heavily. He's not snoring. His snoring is a lot worse. That's just him breathing. Trust me, you don't want to hear the snoring. Even though you're probably going to pretty soon. And no, I'm not going to cut that out because I know most of you are going to find humor in listening to a cat snore while I talk about the Shrek series. Okay, so yeah, that was the Blue Flowers, Red Thorns. Blue Flowers, Red Thorns. That was funny, especially because Fiona only did that to get rid of Donkey. That was also funny when she ripped the arrow out of his butt and the donkey fainted. But it would have been funnier if it was delivered in a better context, and of course, it would have been delivered in a better context if it didn't have that animation mistake. Oh, he ain't snoring yet. Okay, yeah, then there's the My Beloved Monster scene, and, let's see. Yeah, most of the scene was good. It was funny when Donkey got thrown off the tree. The only thing that sucked was the animal abuse, and then yeah. That was funny when Donkey went into the room and like yeah, he discovered Fiona was an ogre. I guess, yeah, that was pretty convincing for Shrek because of the miscommunication. Like, you know, like he was so used to being told that he couldn't have the fairy tale ending that he decided he was better off leaving her. And, that does give me something more to talk about with Shrek 2. Okay, yeah, that was sad, when, like, she was like, no, he doesn't have feelings, and, like, he went back to his swamp, the Hallelujah scene, yeah, like, sad, but, like, in a good way, like, it's sad, but at the same time, like, that's what makes it good, because you want them to end up together, but at the same time, like, I guess it was also funny, because, like, she would rather be with an ogre than a prince. Oh, funny and heartwarming. And then, yeah, if it weren't for the physical relationship thing, I would have actually liked how the donkey and dragon ended up together. But because of that, yeah, that kind of sucked. Okay, and then, yeah, when that was a little bit funny when Donkey was trying to take over Shrek's swamp. And then that was cool. He was able to convince him to stop the wedding. And then, yeah, that was funny when, like, he kept throwing Donkey in the air, and then, like, finally he just stopped and went in and stopped the wedding a second too late. That was heartwarming how she did turn out to love him, and that was cool when the dragon ate Lord Farquaad. And then, yeah, the wedding scene was cool. They had played the song I'm a Believer, and yeah, it was just the mice thing I didn't really like. How, like, it seemed like the fairy transformed the mice into horses, but then the mices turned out to still be around. Like, I don't know, I just think that could have been done a little bit better. And then, yeah, that was my review for Shrek 1. Now, Shrek 2. The beginning was hilarious. How, you know, it was revealed that Prince Charming was the one who was supposed to rescue Princess Fiona, but then he got there and he saw the wolf instead, and how he freaked out. Shrek and Fiona's honeymoon was the perfect blend of heartwarming and hilarious. That was funny, like when he struggled to get her into the gingerbread house and how he broke her through, and even just like how it's medieval times, but like they already started coming out with the camera. And then let's see, that was also funny when they got back to their swamp and Donkey was there. And yeah, this time the donkey and dragon thing actually didn't bother me, because like this time around, like, it's easy to imagine that still would have taken place, you know, had they had a healthy relationship in the first one. It just sucks because unfortunately that's not the case. But again, you know, it didn't change how much I enjoyed Shrek 2. It just changed, like, the level of appreciation I have for it. I still gotta watch Shrek 2, you know, when I do my DreamWorks marathon, because how could I not? It's just, yeah, it would be nice if I didn't have Shrek 1 to compare it to. Anyways, yeah, that was also funny, like, when those people showed up and, like, you know, Reggie kept playing the trumpet even though he wasn't supposed to. Another guy hit him in the back of the head and said, "Enough, Reggie." And then it was also funny when like Shrek didn't want to go and Fiona was like, "Oh, you know, they're not like that." And that was also cool how it turned out, like, not everyone was discriminative against ogres. And then, yeah, that was also funny when they're like, oh, don't worry, we'll keep everything under control. And then they started throwing the party and something broke. And that was hilarious when Donkey annoyed them the entire way to Far, Far Away until finally Shrek started making comments back. And then how Donkey said, no flying movie, no nothing. So they already started coming out with movies. And then, are we there yet? Yes, oh, finally. And then how they had all those modern things in the Far, Far Away, like a Farbucks, Verse Archery, A&A, and how they were playing Lethal Arrow 3. And then just how the song Funky Town was playing in general. Like when they were arriving at a royal palace. And that was hilarious when Shrek and Fiona stepped out as ogres and the dad was upset and everyone freaked out and the bird crashed into the wall. The entire conversation that was taking place between Shrek and Fiona and King Harold and Queen Lillian was hilarious. How Shrek just didn't want to be there and King Harold didn't even want to be there either, even though that was his palace. And then the dinner scene was hilarious. And then, yeah, that was a really cool introduction to the fairy godmother. And that was hilarious when Shrek walked in and was like, great, more relatives, and the sarcastic comments that were made. And then Shrek and Fiona arguing was funny at first. But then sad, but like sad in a good way because like it explores their characters further. Because like it just shows like how he thought, just because they were married it was okay for him to yell, being that they were arguing. But then like he ended up feeling bad because, well, he didn't want to hurt her feelings. And yeah, that was also heartwarming, and that was funny how even after the dad heard the argument, he was still upset about his daughter marrying a monster. And that was hilarious when he freaked out to the fairy godmother and how he had to lie about having a cramp. But like that was also interesting. And that was like, whoa, when she turned out to be Prince Charming's mom. And that was hilarious how she took over the argument for him. And then one of the best movie scenes of all time, stop the car! Cracking knuckles, Harold, you forced me to do something I really don't want to do. Where are we? Hi, welcome to Friar's Frat Boy. How may I help you? My diet is ruined. I hope you're happy. I'll never forget being 4 years old when I watched that and almost dying laughing during that scene. And to this day, I still almost die laughing. I really think that was funny. I think that's random. How they already have fast food at this time period. And yeah, how they as if we didn't already know, they clarified that she wants Prince Charming to marry Fiona because of a deal they had and how it'll help her get control over Far, Far Away. And it's not. And then, yeah. It was interesting how the dad ended up going to that bar, the Poison Apple, and how Doris was being played by Larry King. That was hilarious, having Larry King voice a woman. I think that is one of the best Hollywood decisions ever made. And then, yeah, that was interesting how the dad was actually able to find someone, because apparently there are people who discriminate against ogres in Far, Far Away, but, like, those are bad people. So I guess it just goes to show that, like, there were good people at this time period that didn't discriminate against ogres. And then, yeah, that was hilarious when Shrek had trouble sleeping, because he didn't need to have trouble sleeping just because he felt bad about something he did, but he still ended up having trouble sleeping. And that was also funny when he found the journal and they all said, all the pages said Mrs. Fiona Charming. That was hilarious when the king said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I don't know what came over me," and then how he convinced Shrek to go. Well, it was interesting how he convinced Shrek to go for a walk. And then, yeah, Shrek and Donkey the next morning. That was hilarious. And then the laughs just kept coming and coming when Puss attacked Shrek in the woods. That's when my laughs were getting even heavier. And then, oh, my other cat wants to come in. Huh. Speak of the devil, just when I'm talking about how hilarious it is for Puss to attack Shrek in the woods, even though Shrek actually liked Puss, my cat wants to come in and listen to this conversation. Now both of the cats are in here. Yep, she was just outside, that's why she shook her head. Say hi, Mac. Aw, she actually said hi to you guys. Okay, so anyways, yep, and then finally, Shrek's like, "Oh, we should call the fairy, we should call the fairy godmother. Donkey, think of the saddest thing you can ever think of." Where do I begin? I thought that was hilarious. For those of you who didn't like that scene because you don't like animal abuse, you do realize Donkey isn't an actual donkey. He's one of the boys from the movie Pinocchio. For those of you who still haven't seen that, I feel terrible for you. That is a great movie that came out in 1940, and I would highly recommend it to anybody who likes fairy tales. There's a scene where, like, these boys are taken to an island, like, where they're forced to, where, like, they're allowed to smoke and drink, and, like, when they smoke and drink, they end up turning into donkeys. The lesson being, if you smoke and drink, you're gonna make an ass out of yourself. Donkey is supposed to be one of the boys who smoke and drink on the island, and, like, yeah, he grew up into an adult donkey. That's why he's always, like, wanting to spend time with Pinocchio. And, yeah, that was cool. Oh yeah, that was funny how the fairy godmother is like, "What is this thing on?" And that was cool just how, like, she left a recording for that card in the first place. And then, yeah, that was hilarious how Donkey, didn't want Puss to be Shrek's new friend because he was upset that Shrek was so hesitant to be friends with him, but so quick for wanting to be friends with Puss after Puss tried to kill him. That was hilarious. And then how he sighed and didn't answer the question, that was hilarious. And then, yeah, that was sad when Fiona realized that Shrek saw the journal. And then that was funny when the dad ended up eating dog food. And then, yeah, that was interesting when he was like, "Oh, I'm just thinking about what's best for you. Maybe you should do the same," because it's like, "Oh, is she gonna want to leave? Is she gonna want to stay? What's the deal?" Then that was funny when Shrek, Donkey, and Puss were walking in the woods and Puss kept whispering to Shrek. And that was also funny when they were like, "Oh, we're from the Union," and the guy was like, "Oh, we don't even have dental." And then, yeah, that was interesting when the fairy godmother was making the potion, and it would turn out to be the potion that Shrek was gonna drink later. But anyways, yep, and then they threw in all those references to other fairy tales. That was great. And then, "Don't you point those dirty green sausages at me." That was hilarious. And then how Shrek was actually able to sneak around wearing the thing even though it didn't look like a convincing disguise. That was hilarious. Oh, whoops, I got brain dead. Okay, yeah, that was cool how they were able to steal the potion and escape. And then that was hilarious when the fairy godmother said, "I don't care whose fault it is, just get this place cleaned up. And somebody bring me something deep fried and smothered in chocolate." And that was interesting how they thought the potion was actually gonna help them with their plans to take over the kingdom. And then that was hilarious when Donkey drank the potion, nothing happened. Shrek drank the potion and then he farted. And then that was also funny when Donkey started... No, that was heartwarming when that was sad when Shrek was like, oh, maybe Fiona and I aren't meant to be. And it was heartwarming when he patted Donkey's head. It was funny when Donkey started singing, and then when he fainted, and that was hilarious when Shrek was like, oh, Donkey, and he fell and landed on Puss. Yeah, that was sweet how Fiona decided that she was just better off going back to the swamp with Shrek instead of making Shrek stick out in this newly toxic environment. And that was interesting how she ended up fainting too. That was hilarious how the next morning the girls were all wanting to be with Shrek, and then Donkey was all happy about being a horse. And that was especially hilarious when Puss read the bottle and was like, not intended for like nervous patients or people with like nervous disorders. He's like, jog in place, jog in place. Yeah, what? Midnight. Why is it always midnight? And that was funny how they ended up robbing those guys. That was even funnier when Shrek was riding through as a far away as a human and they played the song Changes, and even more funny when Fiona screamed and she saw that she was a human. That was cute how Puss found her attractive. It goes to show that he has a heart too and he wants a girlfriend in a non-serious, in an innocent way. And yeah, I actually thought that was funny when the fairy godmother tricked Shrek and like he laughed because he knew she was right about how if he really loved her he would let her go, and not because something told him to leave at that moment, because in the real world like none of that would ever happen. But if that were to happen, you should leave because something tells you to leave, and not because you know the person manipulating to you is right about something. That was even funnier when Puss, Donkey, and Shrek were all sitting at a bar, especially with Donkey being a horse, and how Puss said, oh, I hate Mondays. And that was funny when Doris was hitting on Prince Charming. And then, yeah, that was interesting to see that when they confirmed that the fairy godmother did in fact help Fiona's dad, and that's why she was able to blackmail him, even though I guess that was kind of obvious. It was still nice how they did the confirmation. And then it was interesting because, like, for me, I knew the dad wasn't gonna give her the love potion, but it was interesting to see how that was how it played out. And then yeah, that was hilarious when Donkey screamed, Mother! And Shrek was like, oh, a talking horse. And then that was funny how they were already doing like the TV show in medieval times with Joan Rivers. And even funnier when they showed the white Bronco. We got a white Bronco heading south. And yeah, and the love potion scene took place, and Harold didn't let her drink it. That was sweet because it shows that he cares about his daughter and he wants her to be happy, and he can't do anything that's gonna hurt her. That was hilarious when Donkey was all like, nobody said I have the right to remain silent. Donkey, you have the right to remain silent. I'm going to start going totally mad. Too late. And that was even funnier when Puss started eating the mouse. And then, do you know the Muffin Man? Yeah, he lives on Drury Lane. Why? Because we're going to need flour. Lots and lots of flour. And very few things have made me laugh harder than when they revealed that they were going to ride a giant gingerbread cookie to stop the wedding. And when Mungo took off the coffee cup from Farbucks and tried to drink out of it, and he said, no, you great stupid pastry. And of course the funniest climax in cinematic history takes place, which had me on the ground laughing, when they rode the giant gingerbread cookie to storm the castle, and not the gumdrop button, and how it actually ended up dying. And then, yeah, the final battle was cool, well done, and didn't disappoint, being that every moment before was obviously leading up to that scene. And then I always cry when I watch Shrek 2 at the end when they think the dad died, and then it turned out he was a frog. That's why he made a deal with the fairy godmother, how he finally gave her the blessing, and then Shrek and Fiona wanted to stay humans. Was heartwarming. And I thought that was hilarious how Donkey was sad about turning back into a donkey. And then, yep, of course, Livin' La Vida Loca, love that scene, great ending to the movie. And then the end credits scene was cute with Donkey having dragon donkey babies. Alright, I've talked about a lot of specific moments from Shrek the Third, so I'm just gonna skip past the ones I've already talked about and only go over the ones I have talked about. Or no, I'm gonna skip over the ones I have talked about and only talk about the ones I haven't. Let's see. Yeah, the I'm dying scene, that wasn't funny, that was just sad, and I don't know, King Harold's death was a little bit sudden. It would have been nice if we would have gotten to see, him and Shrek get closer. Or, if they at least explained, or if, they went more in depth as to why they didn't get close. Yeah, the funeral scene was still well done. Let's see. The scene at the bar was somewhat funny, but, not really. Well, okay, yeah, it was funny, but it didn't need the grumpy pink skin, our side hasn't been told. No, I guess, I don't know, I guess it wasn't bad that they had the our side hasn't been told. It would have been nice, though, if they explained more on what he meant by that. Let's see, I already went over the I'm pregnant scene, the nightmare. Oh yeah, the high school scene wasn't that funny. Oh yeah, I guess, yeah, the baby shower scene wasn't that funny either. Let's see, y'all already know what I think of the invasion scene. It was cool at first, but then lame when the dragon didn't breathe fire. Oh yeah, why doesn't Shrek just look through Artie's perspective? Oh shoot, I have pretty much gone over the whole movie. Yeah. Okay, yeah, the musical scene, I guess, was pretty funny, but not that funny, because, why even have that musical in the first place, since it's not as great as 2's? And, why try and take something that's already supposed to be funny and non-serious and make it, not as funny and more serious? And then, yeah, the speech wasn't really that great. It wasn't his job to fix the villains rather than take care of himself, and yeah, the ending was cute, but, it didn't need to be done at their old swamp. It could have been done in a swamp that was closer to Far, Far Away. Okay, and finally, Shrek Forever After. What were my exact thoughts of that movie? Alright, so at the beginning, with the opening, it's who is this guy? And then King Harold and Queen Lily, oh, I don't trust her, but we've waited long enough. Okay. I mean, it would have been cooler if, she knew what was going on, but, she wanted her daughter to learn how to fight for herself and stand up for herself. Let's see, I mean, it didn't really make sense for the parents to sign the contract with Rumpelstiltskin if they already knew that their daughter was gonna one day be rescued. Okay, yeah, and then what happened next when they showed Shrek and, getting sick of his life, that wasn't really that funny. It was mostly just bathroom jokes. The birthday scene was hilarious. Yeah, it didn't really fit his character to sign the contract for Rumpelstiltskin, so I didn't really like that. I guess most of the scene where he was terrorizing the village was funny. Just wasn't really delivered in the right context because, they didn't need to have him sign that contract. And then, yeah. That was hilarious. Okay, yeah, that was sad. Like when he saw that donkey was getting abused, but like that was cool how he was able to escape, and that was hilarious. And he's like, "I'm gonna uncup your mouth," and then donkey screamed and ran away. And then yeah, that was cool how Fiona ended up escaping the dragon's tower, even though Shrek shouldn't have been able to run between his house far, far away and the dragon's castle. Yeah, that was cool how like before it was more Donkey wanting to be Shrek's friends with Shrek and then Shrek giving in. But like this time it was Shrek wanting to be friends with Donkey and then Donkey giving in. The scene where he gets baited by the waffles was pretty funny. Yeah, that was interesting when he saw how different Fiona would have turned out had he not rescued her. Only where's Prince Charming? And why couldn't we have seen Fiona wear that outfit in her universe? Because like that actually would have fit her character. Yeah, that wasn't really funny when they showed Puss fat. I didn't really understand why Fiona was falling in love with Shrek, over him acting clumsy. Because like before, she fell in love with him because of how intelligent he was and how much they had in common. Yeah, the Pied Piper scene was pretty funny. Both it's time to pay the piper and when he was making the ogres dance. I just wish they didn't use like similar music patterns from Shrek 2's I Need a Hero, because Shrek 2 is way better, and I do not want Shrek Forever After to get compared to Shrek 2. That was funny when Puss that was sad when Shrek, was like, saw Fiona wasn't gonna fall in love with him. That was funny when Puss ended up eating Gingy. And then, yeah, that was cute how Donkey ended up with Dragon again. Shrek and Fiona ended up together, and, how Puss ended up coming to the rescue again, and, well, I guess that was more cool. And then, yeah, they ended up together, yay, they were back at the party, yay. I really wish they didn't throw in that cheesy line of, oh, it was actually you who rescued me. No, it wasn't. She did not rescue her from the tower. You rescued her from the tower. She rescued you from that old lifestyle. You could have just said that. And the non-believer scene, it was a nice idea, but at the same time, it kind of made the movie a little bit too little kiddish. And then let's see, Puss in Boots. I didn't really like how it opened up. I really liked how it showed him following Jack and Jill, and how there's that chase scene. That was cool when he met Kitty Softpaws. And then, yeah, that pissed me off when he met Humpty Dumpty, and it led to that stupid backstory. But that was pretty cool when, like, they were following Jack and Jill around and, like, they were able to get the magic beans and go up to the giant's castle. Yeah, the scene at the giant's castle was cool. Then when Puss got thrown in jail and Kitty turned out to be bad too, that was just predictable. But that was cool how she broke him out of jail. And, yeah, I did also like the scene where him and Kitty were playing together in the clouds. I guess it was fine how Humpty ended up becoming a hero, and that was sad when he died. Yeah. And then, yeah, that was cool when Kitty stole his boots, and how Puss, like, rode off, into wherever. I'm guessing the sun, I don't know. But yeah, all in all, I mean, come on, Puss in Boots, that movie just really pissed me off. Like, yeah, it had its moments, like, the moments with Jack and Jill, and, like, him and Kitty Softpaws, but, like, all in all, it was just a really stupid addition to the Shrek franchise. Now, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, that was an entirely different story. That wasn't necessary, but it was a great idea to the Shrek franchise. I mean, it has great animation styles, great music, great humor. Of course, my heart still belongs to Shrek 2, But Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, it had a very great beginning. It introduced us to the problem of the story, and then it introduced us to a great musical number, followed by a plot twist, Puss dying, and it turning out to be the last, or second to last, of his lives. And then that was hilarious when he retired and decided to live with the crazy cat lady. It was interesting when Goldilocks and the Three Bears showed up, and it turned out they were looking for the wishing star. And then that was cool how Death showed up and they were able to escape, and how Perito ended up going with him. That big Jack Horner dude looked really funny. I'm so glad they had him. And I think it's funny that he's called Big Jack Horner, because for those of you who didn't get that, Big Jack Horner is a spoof of Little Jack Horner, which is a nursery rhyme, because Shrek is actually a spoof of fairy tale creatures and nursery rhymes. Yeah, that was really cool when they ran into Kitty Softpaws, so they ended up going together, and that was cool how they had to enter the world for the wishing star, and how whoever was holding the map was in charge of how the world looked. And the stop and smell the roses scene was great, and that was funny how I think Goldilocks and them had trouble with it. And the conscience thing was pretty funny too. That was cute how Kitty threw the stick for Perito, and how she ended up shaving Puss. Yeah, the fight scene with the map was interesting, and how it ended up changing the world. And oh gosh, why is my memory starting to fade again? Ah, my gosh, I actually love this movie, but no, you know what the problem is this time? This time I do remember it, but it's kind of hard to believe I do remember it, because I want an excuse to watch it again.
We'll be right back with awesome adventure.
Hold on, just let me look up. Hold on, let's see. Ease him into the dark forest. Oh yeah, forgot to mention Horner burned the roses down. That was cool. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that was interesting how it turned out Puss left Kitty on the day of their on the day they were supposed to get married, and then yeah, that was cool how they stole the map back. Well, it turned out that Goldie, they showed Goldie's backstory. Let's see, that was also cool when Puss got trapped with the mirrors, and then okay, so where were we? Oh yeah, it turned out he was supposed to marry Kitty. Let's see, the house, the mirrors, yeah, him and Kitty started getting closer. We found out Goldilocks was taking her family for granted, but they still wanted to help her. And then they got to the star. Puss ended up fighting Death. That was awesome. Yeah, I thought Goldilocks was bitchy when she was taking her family for granted. And then yeah, that was cool. Puss continued to fight, and then Death was fine, because he's gonna keep fighting, I'll let him live. And then that was cool how they ended up defeating Jack Horner. That was especially funny how it was because of a splinter. And that was cool how Goldilocks redeemed herself. And that was great because I really liked the mama bear especially, and I loved seeing her happy. Because if she's happy, I'm happy. You know how it goes when you get emotionally attached to fictional characters. Yeah, that was really cool how Puss, Burrito, and Kitty all ended up becoming a family. And that was also cool how they ended up going to Far, Far Away. I'm not really sure what I thought of, like, Far, Far Away looking different. I mean, like, I know, I guess it just goes to show that this movie takes place in, like, a different dimension or universe. So, unlike where, like, with the other movies, like, I have, like, solid opinions on things, with this, I guess I just didn't really think anything of it. Like, I guess, maybe the next Shrek movie will, like, get me to have an opinion. But anyways, yeah, those are my exact opinions on the different Shrek movies. Those are what I thought of Small Moments. I hope y'all enjoyed listening to this audio. Feel free to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. I will talk to all of you guys tomorrow.